Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Max here, and coming up, Elden Ring Nightreign servers didn't quite pass their network test, but another session is being considered. Capcom shares some details about Okami 2, and Astro Bot gets more awards and more free DLC. Let's get into it. FromSoftware is currently holding its first public network test for Nightreign, Elden Ring's upcoming standalone multiplayer survival roguelite spin on the hit RPG, but unfortunately a lot of players had a disastrous time getting online. However, FromSoft is aware of the situation. Following the first test session, the developer posted on social media, quote, "We apologize for the inconvenience caused by the game server issues. Work is currently ongoing to improve the stability of the network test. An additional network test session is being considered." Usually network tests and public beta type events like this take place over the course of a whole weekend, but Nightrein's schedule is as convoluted as you might expect from a FromSoft multiplayer game, taking place in 3-hour blocks that may or may not be compatible with your sleep schedule, depending on where you live and whether or not you actually sleep. The first session was held this morning from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Pacific time, or 6 to 9 Eastern. The next one will be taking place this evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific, or 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern, and another one is taking place tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific, or 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Sunday will have 2 more blocks at the same time slots as today's sessions. This test is only being held on Xbox Series and PS5, and during the first play session, it sounds like PS5 players had way more issues, so keep that in mind. Keep an eye out on IGN.com for updates on any future network tests if they do in fact happen. In the meantime, something else that might be coming to Nightreign is post-launch DLC. You probably assumed as much since most games do have post-launch DLC these days, especially if they are multiplayer ones, but PC Gamer spotted that Nightrein's Steam page description included the line, quote, "additional DLC, additional playable characters and bosses," which has since been removed, so hopefully we have that to look forward to. We'll probably find out more soon enough as Nightreign isn't that far away. It's going to be coming to both current and last-gen Xboxes and PlayStations, plus PC on May 30th. One of the big surprise reveals from the Game Awards last year was the confirmation of a sequel to Okami, Capcom's critically acclaimed and fan-favorite game from 2006. IGN's Rebecca Valentine got a chance to speak to the developers and confirmed a few more important details about this long-awaited follow-up. For starters, yes, it is a direct sequel. Capcom producer Yoshiaki Hirabayashi confirmed it is a, quote, "continuation of the story that we saw in the original game." IGN inquired if that was, in fact, Amaterasu, the protagonist from the first installment, to which director Hideki Kamiya cryptically mused, "I wonder." But then Hirabayashi immediately thereafter confirmed that yes, it is that same fox. Another detail that was confirmed by producer Kiyohiko Sakata is that developer Machine Head Games is making use of Capcom's proprietary RE engine. An engine does not automatically determine how a game is going to look in action, but considering that this is the same engine that's been used for all of the Resident Evil games going back to 7, as well as Devil May Cry 5, Dragon's Dogma 2, and Monster Hunter Wilds, it's pretty safe to assume that Okami's sequel is going to look pretty good. Okami's painterly aesthetic is one of its most iconic features, so I really doubt that the sequel is going to suddenly switch to photorealism, but it's definitely going to have some very realistic brushstrokes, which I'm excited about. I love a good, painterly brushstroke. Anyway, it sounds like the currently untitled Okami sequel is still a long ways off, but if you want to pass some time, go check out Reb's full interview with the developers on IGN. One recent game that featured a cute nod to Okami, along with about 300 other games, was Astro Bot, and somehow this adorable game keeps getting even better. Sony has confirmed that 5 new levels are on the way, each with a new bot to rescue. The first is TikTok Shock, which went live yesterday, and each Thursday over the next 4 weeks we can expect another new level. They are suggestively titled Thrust or Bust, Cockadoodle Doom, Hard to Bear, and Armored Hardcore. Team Asobi promises these will be much more difficult than the last Winter Wonder update, and will also feature time attack modes with online leaderboards in case they weren't hard enough the first time around. Also included in yesterday's update is PS5 Pro support, which will give the resolution and frame rate a nice little boost. In other news, Astro Bot netted quite a few Game of the Year awards last year, and it has a few more to add to the shelf now. The annual DICE Awards were held last night, and Astro Bot won Game of the Year, plus awards in 4 other categories, so congrats to Team Asobi. If you haven't given this game a shot, you're missing out. It's really good. And that is your fix for Valentine's Day 2025. If you want a closer look at Tides of Annihilation, which was announced during Sony's State of Play, we've got a nice long gameplay breakdown with developer commentary, so go check that out. Monday is a holiday here in the States, so we won't have an episode for you then, but we will be back on Tuesday, and until then, you can find all of your gaming news on IGN. Have a great weekend, everybody. Go get yourself some of those little candy conversation hearts that say weird things. Hey, Burl? What does that mean?